afternoon, everyone. This is Jared RAND. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for March 28, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We have a reverse aging health call tomorrow night, and we're going to go into some mind-boggling information. Now, everything that we have going on as a people on this planet is due to our power of creation. Now, of course, that's, you're talking about unconscious creation, subconscious creation, conscious creation. Most of us are in the area between subconscious and unconscious. In other words, not really aware that you are creating everything on this planet. And it's not that complicated. It's pretty simple. Every action any of us take in this life is an expression and extension of our consciousness. Every action. Whatever we are feeling about ourselves and this life is emanating energy out into the world around you. All the time. Nothing and no one is separate from each other. We are all impacting each other all the time. By becoming more sensitive to this truth, it becomes obvious how our own limiting beliefs are imprisoning us, stopping us from living the amazing lives we were born to live on this planet. Many of us get caught. I don't think any of us are exempt from it throughout this lifetime so far, by the behavior of others, which a lot of the times destroy our inner peace. And yet, are we cognizant of that? The greatest transformations in this life often show up in the most subtle and gentle forms. It is vital that we first see where the prisons exist in our lives, understand how each one is sustained each day in order to demolish it from our own minds. We may not see the prison walls around us because we are so used to them. These invisible cell bars are all the limiting, skeptical, doubtful, and negative beliefs we carry each day. It is a long, compromising list of constrictive ideas that we tell ourselves who we are and what is impossible. What is impossible to achieve? Now, to give ourselves permission, be totally wild and absolutely free, starts with finding and releasing every limiting belief which we are clinging to that makes us feel not so expansive and free. Find those heavy negative thoughts which you honestly feel are true and real about yourself, yet also make you feel sick, stuck, heavy, and very unhappy. Let them go, because they are just ideas which no longer serve your greatest good. This to some may sound, oh, that's ridiculously simple. Yet when you reach down into the core of you, you'll find that the truth is that you are the God source itself, making up all the rules as you go. And that is all there is. When you are ready to empower yourself and manifest the most amazing life, you'll discover this truth. And then life just naturally becomes easier, more magical and amazing. Many of us are attached to many limiting beliefs and heavy thoughts. So in order to stop being attached to all of these, we must choose to deeply desire to be free. To choose must feel into our suffering inside in order to let it go. There must be a visceral feeling in the body of the stuckness first in order for the release to be real. Then we must choose to continuously step back from it and see how every apparently good and bad belief we had about who we are fall into the pile of small limiting beliefs. And it's for us to decide, each one of us, to leave behind all beliefs to be free. Let go of all of our disappointments, hopes, and fears if we want to truly start living, because attachment to any belief will create some form of future suffering. Live life as if everything could end tomorrow. And also, be this eternal spiritual being who knows that nothing could ever destroy us. This is our life. So we have the opportunity to live it to the max. We don't know exactly how long we're going to be around. None of us do. I don't care how old you are or how young. This universe has given us a mouth to smile with, a body to enjoy. Don't waste a day that you are here on this beautiful planet. Go outside, live your life totally, fully, and truly. I invite you, everyone, to feel what it's like to be totally free from the good and bad opinions of others. Imagine how it might feel in your body to be completely, truly, and honestly free from everyone's thoughts, opinions, and judgments of you. No matter what anyone says. It could be your mom, your dad, or some stranger. It does not reflect in any way who or what you are at all. Instead, you realize that the divine, infinite, spiritual being, who you truly are, is beyond all thought, concepts completely. This non-attachment to others' opinions of you is one of the most self-loving, natural, and honorable ways we can live each day. This is the golden key that turns the lock to realizing at the core who and what we are is already a powerful, divine, and magnificent spiritual being. This spirit and soul, who we really are, in essence, is already always free. So it's a choice. It's a decision. Take the risk to get to know your basic spiritual nature. Feel the essence of your infinite spirit inside. This is something that cannot be contained, imprisoned, nor taken away by anything or anyone in this outer world. Realizing this is real freedom. And this spiritually free feeling is our natural state of being. All exploration and expression from this place is the most loving act any of us can give to ourselves and others. The full expression of our real spiritual nature is the deepest gift we can give, as it is the greatest honoring of who we truly are. Now, you may think that becoming a wildly liberated human being is not the top priority on your to-do list this week. Yet, if it's not in there somewhere, you definitely or definitively aren't going to enjoy doing anything on that list of yours. Without wild freedom, your entire life becomes a chore, a burden, a heavy job that must be accomplished just so that you can get your wants and needs met. And if you don't stop this nonsense and turn that golden key to unlocking spiritual freedom, you will miss out on the main core purpose of your life, which is to enjoy the short time you are here and alive. How many of us get caught up through our whole lifetime, worry, stressing, and fearing in different ways? A lot of us do. And then when you talk with the souls that have left the body, they all say the same thing, pretty much. And what is that? They can't believe they spent their whole life worry, stressing, and fearing about nonsense, things that they had made up in their own mind and created in their own way. Suffering, living in the ego mind, not helping others like they wanted to when they first came. I don't think anybody wants to wait or to be aware at that stage when you've left the body. All exploration and expression from this place is the most loving act we can give to ourselves and others. The full expression of our real spiritual nature is the deepest gift we can give, as it is the greatest honoring of who we truly are. Now, it's pretty blunt, but if you don't stop this nonsense, turn that golden key to unlocking spiritual freedom, you'll miss out on the main core purpose of your life, which is to enjoy the short time you are here and alive. It is only by experiencing truth on your own freedom happens. Freedom is the fragrance of the experience of truth. Okay. And the basic step, the first basic step for any of us to freedom is learning how to continuously let go of what others think of you 24 hours a day. This means releasing what you think your immediate friends, family, coworkers, and lovers think about you. Honestly. Do you know exactly what goes on in their minds? When you drop what you think their opinions are of you, you can actually release whatever your opinions are about you. As long as you are attached to what anyone thinks about you, you'll never be able to be totally free from what your mind thinks, believes, and perceives about you. The mind is a super judger, 24/7. It is always judging, comparing, and labeling something or someone. Then changing its mind again, and then judging again. It is a genius and creating all sorts of fanatical, exaggerated opinions, beliefs, and stories. Now, when we understand this truth, it's easy to totally let go of what others think of us, for their opinions will always change. This creates the space inside you to think outside the box. A lot of people, I think outside the box. Oh, do you really? Okay. It doesn't matter if you're 150. Okay? We're still learning constantly. That's where the ego mind has a tendency to play around with us. Just because we live a long time, or we believe that we're living a long time on this planet, doesn't mean we know a lot. This is a spaciousness. It is the very source of our greatest freedom. So what we do is we step back from our thoughts. For they're all borrowed ideas from other people anyway. That's what we were programmed with to begin with. Other people's thoughts. And deep down, this life is more humorous and ironic than we realize. We are creating all of our suffering and joy all day long, every day. We are responsible for it all. Well, someone might say, well, I didn't know about any of this, or I wasn't educated about this. It's because, why? You chose not to know. You chose not to be aware. The irony is that each day along this lifelong journey, at the very core of our being, is a river of perpetual loving, creative energy overflowing with deep, healing peace. We don't have to go anywhere to find it. It isn't out there. All we simply choose to do is sit, become deeply relaxed in the body, train the mind to not cling to any thought that arises. It may take some time to relax the body, be truly cling-free, and deeply find peace. Yet, doing so, you will experience your soul essence and spiritual nature. There is nothing more important that you should be doing with your life. And the more often we practice being at peace with what arises in the mind, the easier it becomes to experience every ordinary thing in life as a divine. God is with us wherever we go. God follows us wherever we go. Whenever the mind clings to something extra important or special, notice this with awareness and don't push it away. Do not label anything as bad, wrong, or a problem. If you do, this in itself will become what's blocking you from feeling an enlightened, liberated state. Welcome all thoughts with great curiosity. Explore what is beneath each one. You'll see that there is nothing there. Each thought is recycled information gifted from the outer world that we shouldn't take personally at all. Now, if and when you want to get down to the core of you, ask yourself some deep personal questions. What hole inside you are you trying to fill? Where do you feel trapped in your life and why? Write these questions down and your answers. At any time, you can make this a 20-minute enlightening exercise that gently opens the door to your soul. Can you think of anything else more important to spend your time with? Or are we so seduced in the outside world and life in general, externally, that we don't have time to do these things? And when you discover where you feel trapped and empty, you'll see why you're clinging to those things that you cannot let go of. This understanding is the most important next step of your wild journey coming ahead. And this is difficult for many of us to understand. The real battle is one when we see that there are no real enemies out there. And that the only real enemy is the imaginary one within our own mind. This realization is the sacred path to our enlightenment. Finding our inner wildness within is the bridge back to our spiritual essence. Simply because our spiritual nature is wild, free, and absolutely untamable. Expressing this wild spirit within ourselves awakens us from the almighty ego trip we are on. It unlocks the door so that we can step into the vast universe, this universe, and deeply take care of our wounded selves in the most sensitive, loving, and healing ways. When we discover this connection to our real spiritual nature, we instantly see how every human being is a soul and a spiritual gift to our lives as well. From this place, each person we encounter becomes the source of more love, joy, and inner peace in our lives. When we give ourselves permission to feel spiritually connected when amongst others, we truly become the wild, unstoppable, free being we were born to be. We no longer feel wounded. We no longer avoid others or resist letting ourselves be nourished and loved. We start embracing the divinity that we all actually are. The more we practice feeling into this spiritual connection, the better life feels and the more real our divinity becomes. Understanding that we are all spiritual beings We realize there is nobody to fight with or against anymore. You see everyone as your friend and greatest teacher. When we can live 24 hours of one day knowing we are all sacred, divine, spiritual beings that will never, ever, ever, ever die, we will stop suffering completely. The fight will end with others and within ourselves. We can all then realize together that we are the ultimate authority of our individual realities and capable of creating heaven any moment we choose to on this earth. Meditation is simply listening with a receptive heart. That quote came from Buddha. When a man is born, this quote's from Lao Tzu. If you don't know who Lao Tzu is, he's the one that wrote the Tao. All right? And the Tao means the way. When man is born, he is tender and weak. At death, he is hard and stiff. When things and plants are alive, they are soft and supple. When they are dead, they are brittle and dry. Therefore, hardness and stiffness are the companions of death, and softness and gentleness the companions of life. When an army is headstrong, it will lose in battle. When a tree is hard, it will be cut down. The big and strong belong underneath. The gentle and weak belong at the top. We all have a great shift. And the greatest shift that any human being can have in this lifetime is the experience of full self-realization. What is self-realization? There are many definitions which point to it, yet ultimately it is a fancy word for realizing that the unlimited, all-powerful, omniscient self, who you truly are, right? This means we must choose to go beyond every idea, concept, and boundary which we've defined ourselves to be. Self-realization is an endless journey where we not only realize that we are beyond physical form all day long, yet we have a direct experience of it with everything and everyone. We feel and sense a reverence for the spiritual being we truly are. That is not separate from this world around us. It is the most profound awakening process one can have, which expands within every one of us, every moment of the day, becoming an integrated aspect of everyday life. There really is no deeper transformation in consciousness that any human can have than becoming self-realized. The change in perspective is so completely radical and utterly life-morphing that nothing else can compare. Take the most profound experience of your life to date, and then stretch it so it continuously grows and expands 24 hours a day. This is a taste of what self-realization is like. Your entire experience of reality is so different. It's as if you had been an Eskimo living for 70 years in the Arctic Circle And then one day you decided to pack your bags and permanently move to Hawaii. The reason why it is so important to understand how ridiculously different the experience of self-realization is because it helps the mind drop any possible attempts to formulate a hardened concept about it. What it actually is cannot be grasped by the mind. The more the mind tries to think that it knows what self-realization is, further you drift away from the experience of it. There is no mental concept in this universe that can prepare you for self-realization, other than a perpetual willingness to surrender into the mystery and curiosity of it. We would all very much like a formula for a way to live this life that is more enlightened and liberating. The challenge is that every formula that works once is not going to work forever. All formulas last for a limited period of time, and then we outgrow them. Just because the nature of our consciousness is meant to expand, become more flexible, diversified. It is only through absolute surrender to the infinite universe can self-realization be invoked and gifted to you. And this level of surrender means you're inviting in the feeling that anything is possible, which means you must let go of just about everything you've known to be true. It's not easy to let go of our beliefs, yet it is the only way we will ever find the experience of being truly free. So you know that if you find yourself unwilling or through the ego mind unable to let go of just about everything you've known to be true, then you will know that you will stay in a life that you will continually suffer in. And you will not experience being truly free. And to begin this seemingly impossible spiritual quest for freedom, all begins with inquiring into the source and center of who and what you actually are. When you relax, meditate, and dive into the center of you, there you will first find the mind and its stories about you. The infinite experience of you is behind these thoughts. It comes from diving into the center of your presence, your essence, and there you can go into it for infinity. There is always another experience within the center of each experience. And eventually, this is how we become centered within our spiritual essence. In this life, it is always the most random, expansive feelings which redirect our attention away from who we think we are and towards rediscovering our unlimited creative source of consciousness. Now, if you notice, whenever you talk about yourself, you usually refer to the words me, my, or I. When you feel into the experience of me, my, or I, what do you notice and perceive is there? Look for a long period of time. You must be infinitely patient with this inquiry because it is the first step towards uncovering the real you. It is vastly deep in transforming. The longer that you can maintain a focus of inquiring who or what I am, the faster you will realize the shocking truth of who and what you actually are. Imagine that who you are is contained within the small dot inside this circle. I've said this before. Right? So you have got big white canvas and you have this circle, right? In the center of the circle is a dot, which is you. Picture this. The dot is the self you believe you are. This means everything which you have identified with that can be written down on paper, name, friends, job, your gifts, physical appearance, your attitude, personality, and the way others see you is all part of your identity. The dot represents your mind with all the information stored inside it, as well as your emotions, memories, beliefs, and every piece of good and bad information inside your physical body. Everything you know to be true, about your reality, is contained within a tiny dot. The circle around the dot represents everything in our future we have yet to see, experience, know, and learn. It contains our intuitive higher self that says who and what we are includes the ego, mind, body, yet also welcomes everything beyond it as well. Meaning, you could find yourself knowing who you are and is not just your body, yet anything around you. You could feel yourself to be a tree, animal, plant, person, the sun, moon, stars, planet. You could extend your idea of yourself into anything and everything in this entire universe. The circle represents every piece of information you don't know is on Google, as well as in all the buried ancient history books and Akashic records throughout time. Now, you look closely at the circle. You'll see there is an outer circumference where the black edge meets the pure white background. This white background can expand into infinity. This edge represents the edge of the unknown and is where the experience of self-realization is found. We must choose not only to let go of identifying ourselves as a body-mind, yet also be continuously expanding our sphere of what we know is the unknown and surrender to the unknowable. We can call this infinite white expansive space God, love, consciousness, source, or any word that works for you. However, the truth is that there is no word large enough to describe this boundaryless container which allows for everything in this universe to play upon it. This is the great mystery of life, which every mad scientist fights with to understand. Yet the mind will always be too small of a container to get it. It's just not going to get it. To fully experience and realize who and what we actually are, we must choose to release anything that can be known with the mind and surrender into the infinite mystery behind it all. It is in this direct relaxation into our foundation that we find our spiritual connection and our boundless infinite potentiality. We instantly realize that we are a spirit being who is beyond this body, beyond time, beyond all places, shapes, and forms. By living everyday life on this outer edge of infinite possibilities, we become rooted in the deepest truth of who we truly are. We experience enlightened relationships with everyone in our lives because we see they are also part of the mystery, living in this great unknown. We then become this ever-growing expansion of godly experience that is always increasing in love, joy, and curiosity. When we find this infinity within us, where all thoughts and forms abide in, we can rest in a state of pure consciousness. It is from this resting within the core of our real self where we can effortlessly allow everything to be in perfect order, seeing the divine as orchestrating this universe to blossom exactly the way it needs to. Now, and a lot of people have this belief. The experience of self-realization can come and go in an instant. We don't need to meditate for 40 years to get it. It all begins with a choice in each moment to let this go of any identification we have with this body-mind and exchange it for a more expansive experience of this life. So it's partly pure intention and part total surrender. We must choose to go from thinking we are a limited human being with many problems of this world to knowing we are on a great spiritual journey through an unlimited life. This leap requires absolute risk and trust, as the nature of the mind-ego identity is to try to cling to the old, wants to find security in that which does not change yet. Everything of this world changes. The only thing that does not change is the infinite background. The only thing that does not change is the God within that body that you are. That is divine perfection. And so everything that changes is what? An illusion. And the only way to real freedom in this life is through changing our perspective. When we can shift from thinking, I live in the body, to the body lives in me. Our reference point to me, myself, and I is expanded. We are no longer imprisoned to just the body and mind. We realize we are the unknowable. The identification with who we are is then found in everything. We experience this life beyond the known and unknown circles of information we think are there. Self-realization is absolutely humongous. However, it is not too huge to experience it in our daily lives. For it to root and be real, we must choose to be willing, practice integrating this expansive perspective on a physical level. We must choose to find complete relaxation with all the feelings, memories, ideas of who we are now, and everything that we will become. It is through the deepest acceptance of our small selves that we can expand into our unlimited selves. We are forever going to be this tiny dot. This is life. We have no other choice yet to accept it. Relax into the deeply eternal loving and accepting divine background that is behind it all. Join in meditation. I'll return to close this out. Take an easy and a slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and a slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Stop fighting reality. Open to the perfection of what is here now. Completely surrender to what is now. Stop hiding, pretending, and holding on to what was. Let go and discover the divine reality you are living in. This breath, this moment, this heartbeat is your doorway. Simply dive into what exists. This moment, reality always wins. It always wins. Surrender is how love shows up the quickest. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, and the following morning. We will return here for Friday, March 29, 2024, around 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call, and around 9 p.m. Eastern to continue our reverse aging health call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest. Eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's happening within you nor outside of you.